This is a recipe for pizza from scratch. It'll make 4 large medium crust pizzas, or you can cut the ingredients in half, but you can freeze what you don't use. So I like to make a lot and then have some dough left over for other times. For the ingredients, you'll need 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 packs of yeast, 6½ cups of flour, 3 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of dill, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of oil. I use coconut oil, but you can use olive oil. You start off by adding the sugar to a cup of hot water and dissolve it, and then add the yeast and mix it. The yeast takes a few minutes to digest, but in the meantime, you mix your dry ingredients together in a bowl, get it ready for pouring this mixture. Mix 6 cups of flour and the rest of the dry ingredients, and slowly pour in the yeast mixture and the water as you knead the dough, and you want it to be a stretchy consistency but not sticky, and the oil kind of prevents it from sticking to your hands too much. The dough should be stretchy but not sticky. So then you put saran wrap over it and let it rest for half hour to an hour. While the dough is rising, you can get your toppings together. I'm going to chop some red peppers and onions, use red sauce, turkey pepperoni, and mozzarella cheese. You can use any ingredients, any type of cheese, or you don't have to add cheese. Cheese isn't the healthiest thing for you. So I also have some leftover kale and spinach and some chopped garlic that I'm going to add. Cooking the vegetables in the sauce beforehand caramelizes the vegetables and releases some of the water content so that you're not left with a soggy pizza. Once the dough is risen, I take the plastic off and punch it down to release some of the gases. And I use a large cutting board on my table to keep the mess contained, because you're going to use some of the leftover flour ingredients to keep the dough from sticking to the work surface of your hands. And I pull off roughly a quarter of the dough and start stretching it and pressing it out to see if it's the amount that I need. I dust the dough and the cutting board with flour to keep it from sticking, and I start stretching it and pressing it into the shape of a circle. You can make it any shape or size or thickness you want. There are a few different methods for doing this. I like to just stretch and press and then use a rolling pin. Minimizes the mess. It's pretty effective. And I'm going to make a kind of a medium thickness large pizza, and I just roll in every direction to make sure it's nice and even so that it cooks evenly. And once I have the dough flattened out to the thickness I want and the shape I want, then I use a fork to puncture. This is called docking, and it releases some of the gas while it's cooking, and it absorbs some of the sauce and adds flavor to the dough. I'm going to put the crust with this dock side down on a pan into a preheated oven that I've preheated at 350 degrees. After 15 minutes, the crust should be golden brown on the dock side. Here's 2 of them. I like to make 3 of them this way and let them cool, and then put them on a cooling rack, and then put them in Ziploc bags and then into the freezer for another time. And the 4th one I get ready for putting the topping. So I put the dock side up and I put the sauce first, and then I add a whole layer of turkey pepperoni, put my caramelized onions and peppers. You can add any ingredients you want, just as long as you cook them first to release that water. Then I put some mozzarella cheese and my minced garlic. You can put the pepperoni on top. I like to put it on top of the sauce. It adds the flavor of the sauce. And then I put my kale and spinach, cooked kale and spinach on top. Really, you can do this in any order. It's up to you, your preference. After another 20 minutes in the oven, the pizza is finally done. The crust should be golden brown, and together with the initial 15 minutes and then the 20 to 25 minutes once the toppings are on, the cooking time is around 35 to 40 minutes. To cook the frozen pizzas, you take one crust out of the freezer, put it in the oven that's preheated at 350 for around 15 minutes with the dock side down, and cook all your toppings the same way you would do for this recipe. And then flip it over, put the ingredients on the same way, and cook it for another 20 minutes the same way. Thicker crusts take a little longer to cook and thinner ones a little less, so you just have to experiment a little bit. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and expect another video soon. Thank you.